For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website. It's channelstv.com. YouTube.com/channelsweb has videos of all our shows. Subscribe to Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. And besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app has an eyewitness feature. You can use it to share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. In Lagos State, the nation's commercial capital, residents came out today to join the nationwide celebration of the New Democracy Day. The festivity took different shades in various parts of the state.
This is a gathering organized to celebrate the New Democracy Day after 20 unbroken years of democratic rule. The occasion also provides an avenue to work out ways to make the life of the ordinary Nigerian more meaningful.
The campaign slogan of Abiola was "Farewell to Poverty." Until Nigerians are taken out from poverty, the struggle for the actualization of June 12 will continue eternally.
In another part of town, this time at the Ojota Gani Fawemi Park, some group of people under the aegis of Yoruba Koya stage a rally.
Come here today to show support to you.
Speaker after speaker with same demand of safety and security in the country.
Come here today to show support to you. And it's not just showing support to the Yoruba people, it is showing support to all Nigerians, that we are one and we will not stand for anyone or any part of this country being marginalized by any other part.
In the heart of the state, at Alausa, Ikeja, the state government is hosting residents to the first national commemoration of the day. And there are promises to take advantage of the occasion to do things better.
We may need to do things a bit more differently. We may need to sacrifice some of our deeply held assumptions and traditions and think a bit differently. I can tell you that this government will represent that shift of ideas and of focus, and we are ready and willing to take the road less traveled by others.
The agitation for the recognition of June 12 finally laid to rest. The attention now is on how that translates to strengthening the nation's democracy.
A few states also joined in the activities to mark Democracy Day across the country. In this next report, we have some of the highlights of what transpired in those states.
In Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital and the home state of the late symbol of June 12, Chief Moshood Abiola, the state government, led by the Deputy Governor, Mrs. Noimot Salako Oloyede, led other government officials and clerics in a special prayer session at the family house of the Abiolas. The event, which was also attended by family members, witnessed special prayers for the state, the country, and its leadership. The Deputy Governor also used the occasion to solicit support for government policies and programs.
We are going to be a fair, just, and equitable government, and everybody in this state will know that this government is their government.
In Ekiti State, there was no serious activity to mark the Democracy Day, but a pan-Yoruba movement chose the day to stage a rally demanding a stop to the havoc of suspected headsmen in the southwest. Security officials were, however, sighted at the Fajiri Park in Ado-Ekiti, the supposed venue for the rally. The leader of the Pan-Yoruba movement, who was sighted at a nearby location with some of his members, says despite sending a letter to the police, they did not allow the rally to hold.
Early this morning, I came and I threw some posters around this place, and I observed that they have mobbed up everything and they have occupied the other side. That is why we shifted our base to this side.
In Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde freed 35 convicted prisoners in commemoration of this year's Democracy Day. The governor says he took the decision in exercise of his powers as provided by the Constitution. Meanwhile, the National Association of Nigerian Students staged a peaceful protest in some parts of Ibadan to demand for the immediate reinstatement of their union leadership across various campuses as a demonstration of true democracy, which provides for freedom of speech and association. In Osun State, civil rights activists held 2 parallel rallies within the state capital, while members of the Yoruba Koya leadership converged on the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park to hold what they tagged the Otoge Rally. Another coalition of civil society organizations staged a walk around the Osogbo metropolis to celebrate Democracy Day. Both groups were unanimous in their call for good governance. In Kaduna State, residents used the opportunity of the day to ask elected leaders at all levels to reflect on the poor state of the nation and how best they can address the various socio-economic challenges confronting the country.
There should not be out-of-school children. There should be enough security, enough shelter, enough job for people to go around so we can celebrate democracy.
Going forward, Nigerians expect that the government will address the issues thrown up by the people and deliver on the dividends of democracy.
We're now being joined on the news at 10 by Mrs. Ayo Obe, who is a legal practitioner and a human rights activist, to look at the celebration of the first Democracy Day on June 12 and its implications for the country's democracy. A pleasure having you with us.
Hello.
It's a done deal. June 12th is now the country's Democracy Day. But beyond the celebrations today, what would you say is the greatest significance of the day?
Well, I think that for most people, the significance of the day was the way in which Nigerians came together and disregarded identity and decided to vote for a ticket which was a Muslim ticket. And if we compare ourselves to the way we are today, where everything has to be, if we first of all have to attach an identity label to things, it was an important, it was very important in that regard. But I think also that what happened after June 12th was also important, in the sense that, because you often hear young people saying, we need our Arab Spring, we needed our, our people on the streets and so on. And I think that one of the problems, and it's very good to see the commemoration of June 12th reminding people that actually in June or July 1993, Nigerians came out to demonstrate against the annulment of the June 12th election. And they were killed in their hundreds on the streets of Lagos. And despite that attack by the troops under the command of General Abacha, they still insisted on the actualization of June 12th. So I think that the significance of what happened in Nigeria on the day and after, the way that civil society led the struggle for democracy, is also an important part of the legacy of June 12th.
The president said a lot of things today in his speech, and there has been a barrage of reactions. So how would you assess that speech today?
How do I assess the
speech given by the president?
Speech?
Yes.
Yes, I think that there are certain aspects of it that are obviously a bit self-congratulatory, but I think that also some of them are important in terms of where we go from here, because you often hear Nigerians talking about the dividends of democracy. And I think that one of the things that we don't necessarily grasp fully is that democracy is not an end in itself. It's the way by which you get the things that you want to call dividends. So it's not the dividend of democracy, but the dividend of the democratic choices that we as voters make about who is going to govern in our country. So for the president to make it a part of his commitment to the Nigerian people that he is going to tackle the issue of insecurity is an important factor. And however, speaking as somebody who turns out every Saturday in Lagos to campaign for the government to bring back our girls, I do remember that the president had promised to bring back the Chibok girls 4 years ago, and we still have 112 of them missing. But so when we vote for somebody and we say that this person has not fulfilled all their promises, have they fulfilled part of their promises? Or do we think that somebody else can fulfill those promises better? Those are the kind of choices that we have to make as Nigerians, and it's part of what we need to see in a democracy. These are not campaign pledges, however. They're undertakings that the president is giving to Nigerians on Democracy Day. And so I think there's a kind of disconnect, because the president needs to, I mean, when we are voting, the person who is asking for our votes needs to be very specific about what they are going to do. Now, I also think that the president's pledge to lift, I mean, in the context of that security, I think that the undertaking to combine with our neighboring countries is an important one. And because it's very clear that this is not a problem that is confined to Nigeria's borders, particularly when we consider the impact of climate change and what it's doing in our region. We can't solve these problems alone. However, we should not outsource the solution to these problems, because Nigeria is actually supposed to be the giant. If we are supposed to be the giant in Africa, definitely we have to be the giant in the West Africa. And I think that part of what's been missing in the region is a bit of Nigerian leadership on some of these issues. So I think that's an important thing. I think probably last, the one that I would last pick out is this issue about lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years. Now, obviously, the president is not going to be there for the next 10 years. And he's had 4 years in which he has been working at the task of lifting Nigerians out of poverty by setting in motion the social investment policy program. And I think that the Nigerian Economic Summit Group has said that it's good insofar as it goes, but it doesn't go nearly far enough. So what we want to see is, how is the president going to upscale that? How is he going to bring the rest of the country, the state governments, on board, so that this goal of lifting Nigerians out of poverty is going to be met?
I'm sure they'll be looking at that in the coming days. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ayo Obe, for speaking with us on the News at 10.